7 eggs.
All
I'm
right.
going to be adding my eggs.
Oh, we're putting
very, very hot milk.
eggs. experience. He knows exactly what we need. He's been an agent for a long time. Those of us that have worked the border, we know exactly what we need. And the good thing about this administration is they listen to the boots on the ground. They know what works. They know what's effective. We want to make sure that we never go through what we went through under the 4 years of President Biden. These changes that we're making to the posture of border security is something that will pay off dividends for the rest of this term and many more to come. So this is a lesson in how to secure a border. And President Trump has the right team in place to do so. And we thank Secretary Noem for coming out here today.
It's a great pleasure to introduce you to the Honorable Kristi Noem, Secretary of Homeland Security.
Good morning, everybody. Good to see you. Thank you for being here. And thank you to Chief Banks for everything that he is doing to continue to complete the work of securing our border and to protect this country. I also want to thank Paul for being here today. He always shows up not just for our agents, but for the American people and speaks truth to every single situation and challenge that this country faces. And I also want to thank the other individuals that are behind me. I also have Chief Jared Ashby, who's with me. He's the Chief Patrol Agent of the Rio Grande Valley Sector, and he's joining us as well. I think you've been on the job a couple of weeks?
Yes, ma'am.
2 weeks. And he's doing a great job. We still aren't letting any illegal aliens over that border in his sector. And we also have Colonel Robert Felicio of the Army National Guard with us. He currently serves as the brigade commander over Task Force Guardian, oversees almost 3,000 soldiers that are deployed to the border from Del Rio to Brownsville, Texas, right here. With him is Captain Muse, who is also serves alongside the Coast Guard, and we're grateful for their service and their operation down here at the border. As you know, not only do we have our Border Patrol each and every day securing our border, but they're doing that in cooperation with a partnership between the Department of War and also the Coast Guard that has deployed down here as a part of Operation Riverwall. We are continuing to put the American people first and to keep them safe. And we do that, first of all, by making sure that we're a nation of borders. We recognize, and President Trump recognizes, that a nation with no borders is no nation at all. And our laws need to be enforced. And that is a dramatic change, especially in this part of America down here at the southern border from what the Biden administration was enforcing. They ignored our laws, allowed an invasion of dangerous criminals, known and suspected terrorists to come into our country, and every day while we work to remove them, we are still focused on making sure that this border barrier is safe and that these families here are secure. This morning I met with several local farmers and ranchers, talked to them about the dramatic change that has impacted their lives over the last year. Before President Trump was in office at the end of 2024, they had an invasion going on their property. Their crops were being destroyed. They couldn't go out and take care of their land because of security reasons. They were carrying weapons to protect their families and their property, and they hoped that someone would care enough to come and help secure not just their livelihoods, but also the land that had been in their family for generations. Today, they told a very different story. They told a story of land that had essentially been given back to them, that now they could go out there and check their crops, work the ground safely, not be in fear of danger. They could go out and walk up and down their roads without the concern of being run over by cartel members moving their loads of dope across the border and into the United States. And they also told the stories and the memories of the horrific encounters that they had to deal with in their own home communities because of what Joe Biden was doing to this country. Joe Biden invited chaos into America in the form of the 4-year border crisis that has been unprecedented and broke a lot of what makes America great, and President Trump has been focused on putting it back together and making sure that Americans know that they have a leader that believes in them and wants to give them a chance at the American dream. Those ranchers that I spoke with and those farmers that I spoke with this morning, they're all Americans that agree that our country needs to be safe and needs to be secure, and they're grateful for President Trump's leadership. In 2025, daily illegal alien apprehensions at the southwest border have dropped by 95%. And for almost 10 months in a row, nearly a year, the Border Patrol has released 0 illegal aliens into our country. That is a record-setting amount of time period that we have had. And we have also seen 2.6 million illegal aliens removed from the United States of America. That includes almost 700,000 that have been arrested and deported and brought to justice, and then almost 2 million that have left voluntarily, because we sent a very clear message to the world that if you are in the United States illegally, go home now. If you wait until we detain you and deport you, you will never get the chance to come back and be a part of the American dream. The American people have a lot to celebrate in this historic year, but we have a lot more work to do. Even the most historic success does not mean that we can rest on all of our laurels. Innovation and improvement is important, and that's why today we're announcing the next steps to secure our border. The Department of Homeland Security and U.S. Customs and Border Protection are deploying over 500 miles of border barrier in the form of water barriers like you see behind us. These barriers were funded in the One Big Beautiful Bill, and that is long enough to stretch all the way from Washington, D.C. to Nashville, Tennessee. It's more than 130 miles of those barriers are already under contract, and they're getting ready to be deployed starting today. These barriers consist of floating buoys that are 4 to 5 feet in diameter and up to 15 feet long. The buoys that you see here today behind me are ones that are made right in America by a family-owned company down the road here in Texas. CBP is working closely with our state of Texas and the U.S. International Boundary and Waters Commission to make sure that the buoy barriers are installed properly and that they are going to last for many, many years to come. These barriers will make it much harder for illegal aliens, drug smugglers, and human traffickers to cross the river and other waterways where they will be deployed. They'll create a safer environment for agents on patrol. And securing our waterways not only protects Americans, it saves the lives of illegal aliens by deterring them from daring to attempt to cross through this treacherous water. Under Joe Biden, nearly 3,000 illegal aliens died attempting to cross into the United States, and an untold number of individuals drowned.
Gator metal roofs are durable and reliable for a lifetime. Built with precision and
for aliens crossing the border, with heat exhaustion being number one. Things are so calm here now that it's easy to forget how bad things really were. In 2023, I want to remind you that the United Nations declared Biden's wide-open border barrier and border invasion the world's deadliest land migration route. Those barriers and these ones behind me are going to save our lives and going to save illegal alien lives. It will help stop the drug trafficking that's devastating our next generation of Americans, and it will also make sure that we're stopping the human trafficking that we've seen for so many years. Cartels now use drones to smuggle drugs as well, and other technology. We will continue to deploy technology to meet the challenges that we have in front of us. And as we continue to stop these smugglers, we're going to be working around the clock to stop the damage of the Biden administration. Joe Biden was complicit and culpable in the biggest child trafficking ring in all of human history. On his watch, more than 450,000 unaccompanied children were lost, or they were placed with unvetted sponsors at the southern border and were completely overwhelmed. So far, the Trump administration has found over 129,000 of these children, and we're going to continue to ramp up our efforts to make sure that every single one of them is accounted for, found, and returned to family and people who love them. President Trump's doing everything that he can to keep America safe. I want to thank you for being here. I want to thank Chief Banks, the state of Texas, our Border Patrol, and all the individuals that are out there making sure that our border not only continues to be safe and secure, but that we also are out there deploying technology to make sure that all Americans get the chance to live in America where they can get up in the morning and be excited about raising their kids and their grandkids in a country that is free. And with that, I'll turn it back over to any questions that you may have.
We do. So earlier this morning, Minneapolis was the site of an ICE officer-involved shooting. We've preliminary information that has been coming out know that allegedly the woman who was shot was a woman, according to Mike Tobin, who is there still on scene. Mike Tobin, if you're there, let's get the latest from you. Oh, okay. So we're going to bring it back to the couch as we talk about this. Harris, you were monitoring the tweets that were coming out from leadership there in Minneapolis, and it seemed that immediately upon learning of this ICE-involved shooting, we do know that all ICE agents are safe, but that leadership there was tweeting out about getting ICE out of Minneapolis, although Mike Walls allegedly has urged people to stay calm. What are your thoughts as this develops?
Well, leaving the politicians doing what they often do, Emily, I'll get to that in a second. But with this situation, just consider the backdrop here. You've got a state that's steeped in fraud. You've got federal agents on the ground arriving this week, taking a look at the $9 billion. And some have said that's a modest number. We'll see as the investigations, plural, shake out. We know that the U.S. Congress and the oversight chairman, James Comer, they're looking at this. They are bringing in people. So you've got that going on there. You also have a situation that Sandra just mentioned to me, too, where you've seen a lot of police officers leave. I mean, it's not a friendly place for cops, and because law enforcement isn't allowed to do its job. And so you've had a whole lot going on in the backdrop of this. And why is that important? All eyes on Minnesota right now. You have ICE agents on the ground trying to do what the president's goal is to do, and that is to clean up illegal immigration, violent, worst of the worst, out of the country first. ICE centers, they're trying to protect those detention centers, and our ICE agents have been under threat. A whole lot going on. It is a concoction for anything to happen. So we've been watching this story without a lot of detail, but now take a look at the middle of your screen. This is what we heard early on, and it didn't really make sense, Emily.
Yeah.
So this was a shooting, but it was a ramming. Now we can see the remnants potentially of that with the white car and a vehicle behind it. We don't know all of the details or how that ended up, but we know that that's been a focal point as all of these vehicles now are lining the street. Residential area. Imagine what that feels like. You're looking outside, you've got people, law enforcement, you've got federal agents, everybody in your yards on that street. And now finally some details that a woman reportedly has been shot. We don't know conditions of people. We don't know any of that from the ground. But in the meanwhile, we have Makeup Jacob Frey of Minneapolis. I'm aware of the shooting involving ICE agent at 34th Street in Portland. The presence of federal immigration enforcement agents is causing chaos in our city. He tweets this in the middle of all of this. We're demanding ICE to leave the city immediately. We stand rock solid with our immigrant and refugee communities. I don't know what he knows, but we're going to need to know a lot more information like the facts and not his opinion.
Now, we had a reporter on ground earlier, Mike Tobin, who talked to us about the allegations thus far. This ICE officer-involved shooting involved the person who was shot, a woman, and allegedly involved a ramming incident, which there on your screen you can sort of see. If it pulls out further, you'll see what looks like three vehicles that were sort of tangled together. And then you see there that group of people that, as Mike Tobin described it, sort of descended on the site of where it occurred. Now, there is tape keeping those people at bay. And he talked about sort of the knee-jerk reaction of these individuals that often do descend on where there is an ICE officer-involved situation. We see here now plenty of space in between those protesters or gatherers there and what looks like the scene of that shooting, or at least the ramming. John, your thoughts as we see this unfold before us?
Well, Emily, of course, we need to see more facts.
Yes.
But I can tell you the broader picture here is this is what's going to happen in sanctuary states like Minnesota or California or New York, where local officials, if they're not tolerating or at least encouraging resistance to the execution of federal law. No one doubts here that people here are in violation of federal immigration law, that ICE agents have the right under the Constitution to go and execute warrants, to go and detain people in violation of that law. And state officials are not allowed to do what the mayor, according to Harris, just said, kicking federal agents out of a state. That is impossible under the Constitution. This mayor, again, once again, has showed he's not fit for office.
Also inciting violence.
Yes, he's encouraging resistance to the execution of federal warrants. And so, unfortunately, you are going to see people in Minneapolis, in Minnesota, rush out to try to stop federal agents from doing their duty. And these state officers, instead of encouraging it, instead of saying federal officers should be kicked out, they should be arresting and prosecuting people there.
John, we have more facts now. Our own Michael Tobin, who's reporting on what is happening on the ground there in Minneapolis, is confirming that today ICE officers in Minneapolis were conducting targeted operations when rioters, he say, began blocking ICE officers, and one of these violent rioters weaponized her vehicle, attempting to run over our law enforcement officers in an attempt to kill them. An act of domestic terrorism. An ICE officer, fearing for his life, the lives of his fellow law enforcement, and the safety of the public, fired defensive shots as a response. The alleged perpetrator was hit and is deceased. Thankfully, the ICE officers who were hurt are expected to make full recoveries, and we do pray for them. This is a direct quote coming in now. This is the direct consequence of constant attacks and demonization of our officers by sanctuary politicians who fuel and encourage rampant assaults on our law enforcement, who are facing a 1,300% increase in assaults against them and an 8,000% increase in death threats. This is an evolving situation, and we hope to get more details soon.
Can you tell where that quote came from?
This is from Mike Tobin, per his sources, on what is happening with the ICE officers on the ground there. By the way, 1 o'clock, top of the hour, 1 o'clock Eastern time, we are expecting to get a news conference on what exactly happened there. But I do believe this is Mike Tobin's reporting directly from ICE.
Okay.
So I believe that's attributable to ICE.
Yeah, you and I are looking at the statement, and some of it's in quotes and some not. And then just the caveat that we always say that this is an evolving situation. Things will come in. That news conference will be critical. And Emily, just look at the middle of the screen there. I don't know if we could pull out on the bottom right of what everybody else is watching, but we can see it bigger here in the studio. Just a huge number of law enforcement that are now on the scene, walking between their squad cars. Vehicles have pulled up in every single direction at 34th and Portland and South Minneapolis as they work the scene. That is a huge show of force there. You now see a line of officers that are keeping some sort of a perimeter now as well.
Well, and the line of officers is necessary because according to some of the footage that is circulating online, the rioters who were present were throwing snowballs and ice at the ICE officers who were trying to manage this scene. So the protest is still ongoing, or at least was not too long ago, in which they were actively obstructing law enforcement from doing what they needed to do on the ground. And I'll just note that this is also within the context of just a day ago, we learned that ICE officers were being told that they couldn't stay at one of the hotels in Minneapolis because the hotel didn't want to aid immigration enforcement measures. So there's clearly a coordinated effort here to prevent the federal government from simply enforcing federal immigration law. And again, this is happening in just about every sanctuary city and state around the country.
Well, and there's a fine line as these events unfold to what we will learn what occurred between, resistance and violence. And when you throw snowballs and people say that's not a big deal, what if it's a white cue ball, which I've experienced in certain situations reporting on? What if it's an ice ball, which can cut your face? I mean, there's no such thing, I think, as a benign resistance whatsoever to them effectuating their duties. And we know, John, that the highest risk to officer safety is indeed in executing warrants. And here, when the sort of public writ large is encouraged to resist and does resist, then situations can unfold rapidly and without any type of stymieing that rapid escalation to here, which is violence. And I know thus far, I can't see any type of struggle in the people who have appeared thus far on our screens. It doesn't seem to be that those that have arrived are engaging in a jostling yet. I don't see that. I'm not sure if you guys do. So thus far, it seems to be, quote, peaceful in those that have descended on this particular scene right now, John.
Look, this is a result of a woke ideology possessed by the highest leadership of a state, Minnesota, which on the one hand thinks it's fine to loot the federal treasury by abusing federal programs like the welfare programs that the Congress is hearing about, and at the same time to demonize federal agents who are just trying to carry out federal law. And as you said, Emily, the toughest thing is for those agents to have to go and execute warrants. They don't know what's behind a door. They don't know who's going to try to jump on them from what direction. And for them to have to use self-defense, force in their self-defense is unfortunate, but it also gives you an indication of how heavy the resistance is, the kind of danger that is arising in places like Minneapolis. Because again, I think state officials, local officials like the mayor are encouraging or at least tolerating violence. But when they say things like kick all federal agents out of the state or out of the city, I think they're encouraging private citizens, unfortunately, to do something unhinged, like what we see this driver of this white car who had to be shot by ICE officers.
And thereby incentivizing it, because as he's saying, these refugee immigrant, communities, that'll take the pressure off of all of you. You got to get these guys out. I mean, that's inherent in what he's saying. That's not reading between the lines. Read his words. Based on DHS sources, this is another vehicle ramming incident and a long list. At least 100 vehicle attacks against federal law enforcement have happened since January 20th of 2025. So we've already lived through nearly a year of this. You were talking about the real threat that something like this is on those federal officers and agents. Absolutely, that's true. I didn't say 10, I said 100.
And they need the support and cooperation of the local police. Now, these ICE agents, federal agents, DEA agents, ICE agents, ATF, they go to execute a warrant. They're not there to try to police the peace-abiding citizens around. They're just there to go and catch a criminal, catch someone who's in violation of federal law. If you have mayors, police chiefs, governors saying, we're not going to protect you. In fact, we're going to encourage people to get in the way, and we're not going to prosecute or arrest anyone who tries to attack you, then you're going to see more and more incidents like this. And this is a defiance of federal law. I think it was a mistake for the Supreme Court, unfortunately, to say that President Trump couldn't call up the National Guard, because if state officers keep doing this, the only choice that a president has, and I think he has to do this, is to send in the National Guard to protect federal officers.
Sandra, I want you to comment, sorry, excuse me, on that ICE release that you read earlier, because there's two important notes within that I'd love to hear feedback on. So this is the ICE release that you read, an ICE officer fearing for his life, the lives of his fellow law enforcement, and the safety of the public, fire those defensive shots. And it says, in accordance with his training, he saved his own life and that of his fellow officers.
Thank God.
And so now these ICE agents have essentially their training has to encompass a daily assault. It's not simply effectuation of duties and effectuation of warrants and arrests and the like. It actually includes assault defense constantly, which is far different from a normal position description, Sandra.
He used his training and saved his own life and that of his fellow officers. You have to think about these officers are going out there every single day knowing that they're risking their lives. We've talked to the family of these ICE agents who also feel like they are threatened and they are scared for their loved ones' lives every single day. I mean, you saw the number of percentage attacks that have gone up, the daily threats that they face just to go do their job, their lawful job, to carry out the law in the streets of America. That is why it's so sad that we are seeing what happened here. Thankfully, we are hearing all affected are going to make a full recovery. But this is an incredibly scary, dangerous situation. And the people in Minneapolis have suffered. Those who couldn't flee based on the mass exodus of the police on the streets there. I mean, I was trying to just get an updated average response time from the police there, because as you know, they transitioned to public safety officers to respond to emergency situations in that city. There are still police on the ground there, but not enough of them. I mean, their call times have gone way up to respond to actual emergencies that happen there. It has become an incredibly difficult city for so many to live in, and to have this happening now, and to know that those ICE officers, they don't have the back of the city in which they are carrying out lawful operations in America. That's tough. And Emily, to your point, to have to train against it, to save yourself, that's another world.
Mike Tobin is there live on scene with us for the latest. Mike.
At Wayfair, we bring style to every get-together. Oh, they brought wings.
You mean these wingback chairs? Dive in, everyone. We brought plenty.
We brought the sides.
Everybody remember to leave room.
Yeah, bring that over here.
We brought the ranch.
Ooh, that looks like it's fresh from the farmhouse.
Wings.
And we would gladly work with you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman.
Chair recognizes Mr. Biggs from Arizona.
I have a UC request.
Proceed.
Thank you. First one is Arizona has recovered just 5% of taxpayer dollars lost in a $2.5 billion Medicaid fraud scheme.
Without objection, so ordered.
And I'll save the rest for the future. No, I've got a bunch more, but not right now, Mr. Chair.
Okay, all right, thank you. Chair recognizes myself for 5 minutes of questioning. Yesterday, Minnesota's Office of the Legislative Auditor published an audit of the state's Department of Human Services Behavioral Health Administration grants. I'd like to enter that report and its cover letter into the record. Without objection, so ordered. The cover letter of this report states, quote, however, during the course of our audit, we identified a number of documents that the Behavioral Health Administration either backdated or created after our audit happened, end quote. It sounds like Governor Tim Walz's Department of Human Services may have been fabricating evidence by creating documentation after the fact to mislead voters, to mislead auditors. This new report noted that one grantee who received nearly $680,000 from this agency for 1 month's work, but could not provide any documentation or proof that any work was actually completed. What's more, and this is the kicker, the report notes that the grant manager who approved this money left the agency within days of approving the grant to take a job with the very same grantee that they approved money for. So very quickly, Representative Roberts, have you ever seen anything like this in your time as a member of the Minnesota's Fraud Prevention and State Agency Oversight Policy Committee?
We have heard whistleblower reports of backdating and falsification before, and we also have a record of earlier in the CCAP, the child care fraud, where they would allow the providers to submit records far after the investigation and accept them as true. So clearly this has been a pattern at the agency and it's unacceptable.
Unbelievable. And we want to work with you. We want to work with these whistleblowers. We're serious about this. The Trump administration's on the ground. We want to catch these people and we want to put them behind bars, and we want to hold any politician that participated in these schemes accountable. Representative Hudson, who's to blame for this dysfunction?
Well, the blame can go around quite a bit, but as Tim Walz himself said, the buck stops with him.
Representative Robbins, do you have any examples of how the Walz administration blocked investigators from moving forward with high-priority fraud investigations?
Yes, we do, Mr. Chairman. I've met with whistleblowers and gotten documents from them about how after the original CCAP whistleblower report came out in March and April of 2019, subsequent to that, there was an Office of Inspector General within DHS that had investigative authority to do surveillance, warrants, and seize electronics, and they were shut down. They were told they could no longer do criminal investigations. They were told they could no longer meet with the Bureau of Criminal Apprehension agents that were assigned to them without supervisor's approval. And instead, when they found one of the other members talked about how they changed the language. They went from calling it fraud to calling it overbilling. And they created an overbilling committee to all the investigative agents now couldn't do criminal investigations, and they had to flag issues.
This simple but brilliant device is helping seniors prevent cognitive decline.
Learn this shit and all of it, man. So I would like to use my full ability. And again, we've helped a lot of people do a lot of fucking great things, man. So, but that's why if you don't use it, that's what a disservice, what a waste. And I don't want to waste anything. You know that? It's you got to use it. Because if you don't use it, you lose it. That was one of the philos, man. Everything in life, even your muscles, you name it. If you do not use it, you will lose it. So utilize all the good things and utilize the best you can. And if I have an opportunity to live in my purpose, my brother, I love it. I'd love to do that. So I hope you do too. That's why. Living it, baby. LMT still dropping. All right, man. RevMed is going above. Again, I like the Eras one. Yeah, it's a direct sympathy. The shares are better than the options. Not a recommendation, but yeah, that one's that's like a cheap one. Direct sympathy already running up, and then there's the XBI. Your electrical license, dude, do it. Dude, congratulations, and keep that up, man. I think that's a very good career to get involved with. We've been talking about that. We even got a couple Chads doing it, and I like it. That gets me excited, man. I think that's a very good opportunity. All right, RevMed's going. Elf starting to pop, not a move. Spy coming down. But yeah, I do think I can't believe that one's going. Air is coming down, but the RevMed is impressive. So yeah, people are speculating higher still. That one I think that's getting all the attention. So you'll probably find out tomorrow, day after. We'll see, man. We will see. Yeah, and then the market's moving. Remember at the end of last year when they would kind of like delay the data and the market would get that? The market reacts to that. So now I think, remember the whole idea that Powell or whoever's going to be at the Fed, the data's going to come in later. So if the data comes in later, they got to play this little fly blind game or whatever they want to bend the rhetoric towards. But hopefully you get how that is market moving. Because we were like right here, that came out and you took another leg down. And the low ticker is pretty active as we get here in the close. Well, did it again. Yes, all right, low.
Scribe is how you stop explaining the same thing over and over at work. Watch this. It'll change your life. Raise your hand if
control in your market there, considering how necessary it is to everything and just how little people are involved in it, especially the other generations. And that's why, too, even like silver, that was the whole talk that we like. Silver has so many, we've talked about Silva. Oh, Ares, did that fucking rip? Yeah. All right, well, but we talked about, why did it say 640? What the fuck? Hold on. That one said it did hit 640. Yeah, that hit a new high. But that's a big range. But silver, we talked about it since the beginning of last year, freaking out at every $10, $20, But, it's both the war stocks, the AI, but this whole idea of like electricity and, comparing it to data centers and production and how to, put it all together. And if you wanted to get quick data or quick energy for a data center instead of nuclear and the time it takes, solar, pretty much solar, the copper substitution, all this stuff, it really, that's where silver comes into play. So think electricity. That's what I was saying. Electricity, power demand, silver, like you have so many of these little signs pointing you towards, what's going on and where everything's moving. So that's why I'm like, man, those of you in the electric industry, I God bless you. And I would I would say if you have already had an interest and already progressed in that, keep going. And good job. I think you're getting pointed in the right direction there, and I think it's a very exciting opportunity. Yeah, RevMed, it's a baby high. It's slowing down, but yeah, it's going, man. Is it at 20 bill? Right there, 19.9. So 103.45. Is that another $1.20? I was off by a couple cents. But yeah, that's the 20 billion. So that's market. That's offer plus 1 billion of debt. You go up another like $1.20-ish. I think $1.20, $1.50, if it's not including debt. And then again, that's all off a 20 billion rumor. So we don't know any of the other details, and that's not even confirmed. White House withdraws Ryan Bosk's nomination for FTC, with Bosk set to become deputy director of the National Economic Council. Wait, isn't that Kevin Hassett? So there you go. Kevin Hassett is going to be the Fed chair, right? Because isn't Kevin Hassett the director of the National Economic Council? Well, that news is coming out, and they're putting Bash to become the deputy director. So not confirmed yet. Yeah, this space. Well, that's what I'm saying. I think space. That was the first thing we talked about this morning. Is bubbling up. So you might get the bubbling of the space bubble, and if the more and more people talk about it, and you get a little policy behind it, then that might be it. And then at the very least, if you get that SpaceX at the end of this year, then yeah, there you go. ISTS. Oh, they all came down though. I mean, everything started to come down here. Now Apple, Boeing, again, the defense stocks kind of got clobbed. Yeah, watch. It says deputy director, so maybe not necessary. But if they replace the director, I think that would be the tell. Nice, bro. Well, good luck, man. Good choice for all the electricians. ETF that holds SpaceX? Yes and no. I mean, I do think it's going to get bubbly, and then depending on how the narrative, the news, and, it all depends on the direction of the industry, but it is like some of these like ETFs and the people that hold it or have exposure, sometimes they're already charging the premium, so it may be harder to make money on it. So yes and no. You got to really do your due diligence and make sure you're getting a deal or have room to make money, and you're not necessarily paying the highest price for the exposure. Just like we learned through the inflation stuff, and a lot of times, even last year, if you're paying a lot for the exposure, it's not worth it. But if you're getting the exposure at a good price where it leaves you room to make money, hold it, flip it, and then again, if it turns into like nuclear and then it just goes so insane that it doesn't even fucking matter, that's a whole nother story. But for now, with what we know, where it's at, and kind of even forecasting ahead, you just got to make sure you don't overpay for the exposure. I like the exposure if it's cheap enough, but if it's expensive exposure, then I'd rather have nothing. All right, well, RevMed is going. What's the other one? Araska. Does they have a bunch of gold? Would they try to get miners? Maybe, yeah. I am. A lot of people haven't talked about that. But, I mean, gold is going to do its own thing, but that could go both ways, right? Whether it increases gold supply or if the U.S. just takes it all, and then now there's less gold in the world available. But, yeah. I do think gold and minerals is more important to a certain degree, but then again, actively they just have a shit ton of oil. It's a tremendous value of what they have in oil. So, and that's right here, right now. But yes, I do think the gold discussion does come up, or should, and maybe depending on how it plays out, the situation, then we'll go. What's this? Apple Card, JP Morgan reaches deal to take over Apple Card program. Expected to include more than $1 billion discount on balances. Apple Card deal with JP Morgan ends Goldman's foray into consumer lending. So, could benefit Apple, maybe JPM. It's coming out now. That's an exclusive. Reach deal to take over Apple credit card. Tell me why I never wanna hear you say. Yeah, that might just be a lot slower. Biotech stock with RevMed buyout. Was there another one with biotechs? But that started to run them all up. And then you had the other biotech buyout this morning, VTY. That one's actually not confirmed. That's a rumor. Same thing. RevMed's not even confirmed yet either, but that just got a lot of sympathies and everybody else going up. Yeah, Goldman got rocked on that. I don't know why Goldman, it wasn't just the Apple Card, but it was a lot of the consumer lending, and it just did not really work out. JP Morgan's moving up on that, though. I'm sure, once again, JP Morgan buys the scraps at discounts. Well. Yeah, I would even just gold itself, though. I mean, gold, most people think it's going to, they think it's going to be the same, like kind of like last year. Obviously not as crazy, but, whatever happens to gold, then, yeah, that's going to be the real set-all, be-all. Whether central bankers, activity, dollar, you name it, my friends, you name it. Tell me why. Any new the data. So where was it? Danish ambassadors to meet with U.S. lawmakers on Thursday. Oh shit, Greenland. So they're meeting on Thursday. But what was it? They said the October and November personal income to be released in January, and then I think it was another set of data being released in December. December personal income and PCE for February. There was one more. But yeah, it was all this idea. There's like December data being released in February. And that was like, that added, we were like in the range of the day. And then that just what fucking clapped it right there. So here we are. How much time is left? 18 minutes. Yeah, JP Morgan will issue Apple credit cards for both new and existing holders, planning to launch a new Apple savings account. No, Greenland has critical minerals. We've talked about that since last year. That was kind of the idea. Remember that one? People have a long time frame on that, so that's even like maybe by the end of his term. But that came up with even the whole Canada stuff too. But yeah. Where's your boy Revman? That's still chilling up there. Eras came down. Tyra, that's another one. Then the cruise line started moving up, and then uranium did start to move a little bit here too. So yeah, wait till after the bell or by the morning. I mean, that's when we got more updates on the other ones like VTYX. Remember, we got that info in the morning, and then that launched.
Grainger knows that if you're a lineman in charge of keeping the lights on, you go to great lengths, and sometimes heights, to ensure the power is always flowing. Which is why you can count on Grainger for professional-grade products and next-day delivery, so you have everything you need to get the job done. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Still going up. JP Morgan went up on that. It wasn't really a mover. Is there a specific time for Jerome? No, just before he leaves. He said in early 20, didn't he say January or February? Staples are kind of flushing. But yeah, he could do it pretty much whenever, I believe. He likes to guide the market, though. He gave some, I think he said January or first quarter. It's been a long time. I don't remember. Still showing. I still think it's going to be Hassett. Yeah, Ventrix initiated at buy. $20 a share? What the fuck? Isn't that the one we just looked at? Venetix? Or am I looking at, is that different? No, what the fuck? They got bought out at like $14. Why are they putting a $20 price target? All right. And then, yeah, RevMed, we still don't have any updates on that. That was a crazy one. Good times. Good times here in Chattadonia. Didn't we sell Greenland? Wasn't it ours at one point? It's been a long time. Well, 15 minutes remaining. All right, we'll see if we hit a new low or not. I mean, it's already been a exciting day. 920. Are you like a little bit back to open? Again, we did hit a new all-time high. Apple's dropping. See if any of the biotechs go up. But yeah, they're still holding up pretty good, but then Staples started moving down. Pepsi, PG, Chipotle. Do they have earnings today? Ooh. Or are you going to go eat it? Because that sounds good, yeah. Are you going to go eat it? Because I want some Chipotle. But no, my girl, I'm getting some Swiss food today. I got a Swiss lunch, and then I got to hit up the gym. Get that Chipotle honey, dog. Telling you that Chipotle honey is insane. But you already knew, man. You were already put on game. The Chipotle honey vinaigrette, stupid, dog. Stupid. Mm-hmm. You know ball, bro. Yeah, for real. Bitcoin Depot up 7. Just all you guys. What happened to the weed? That popped up with all the other biotechs. How many? I think it says it's 50. I think it's 50 calories or 150, one or the other. That's a 300% difference. But yeah, I hope so. I didn't care about it this holiday season though. But then again, my whole gym schedule, I need to go back on meal prep next week. So yeah, it just sucks. Going back on the meal prep, dude, my farts are insane. But we could save that talk for later. You got 12 more minutes, close to the 10-minute rigged. Near the lows, near kind of the range of the morning range of yesterday. RevMed 105. I'm hyping it. No, bro, get it. Even my girl, she liked it, and she's very picky. And she was like, she don't like spicy. It's not too spicy, but it's kind of oily. Like, you can't go too crazy. But, nah, it's like, I think it's solid, bro. I'm not overhyped. This is not a sponsored post, bro. I don't get anything except the joy of just putting you on game. It's good. It was really good. I was like impressed by it. I don't even remember the last time I was impressed by Chipotle. I just think Chipotle's solid. It's overpriced, but you get some solid protein. That's it. I've never really been impressed by Chipotle. Like I've tried the little chimichurri shit, all of the other stuff, nonsense. But the Chipotle honey vinaigrette, I was very, very impressed. Shit hit, bro. It just hits. It hits. That's all. Is there garlic in there? I don't know what it is. It's just good. It's just oily as fuck. Like the texture of it. And like if you dip it in the burrito, it get all over the damn. It just gets everywhere. It's oily. It's like greasy. But it's a vinaigrette. Maybe that's why. But it's in the name. Oh, I don't know. Our Red Thursday is going to carry over. Let's find out. The red chimichurri's not bad, but like I said, I wasn't like impressed with it. I can't remember the last time I got blown away with anything from Chipotle. All right, there's 10-minute rigged. But like this Chipotle honey vinegar, I remembered it. This was like 2.5 weeks ago, bro. I remember it. I'm like, damn, dog. It's amazing. It's really amazing. I'm sorry for influencing you, but you guys, again, man, I don't take ads. You guys are watching the ads, but I don't no sponsor post, man, for a long ass time. You see that, Nick Shirley, bro, great video, motherfucker wearing a Poly Market shit right away, dog. You know what I'm saying? You got the dividend people. They all cave in. They need that ad money, dog. The Lord is with me. The Lord is good, but I'm going to just tell you right now. No, you know what I'm saying? This is just me telling you as a homie. But then again, I am pointing you towards a $25 burrito for crying out. That's if you get guac and fucking queso and all of it. But nah, it's good. It's good. Red Thursday versus Red Chimichurri. I don't know. I would say Red Thursday is way more interesting because that was fascinating. We made some money on that too out of nowhere. I was like, yeah, watch it. Watch it, bro. Watch this. We hit it, and then they talked about it, and then it disappeared. But yeah, I think that is a fascinating phenomena. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I don't think Poly Market will be like a FTX because they're not like scamming people. They're just getting you to do dumb shit and like marketing and all that. But I just think it's more nefarious for the uses. That's my prediction. They're going to just people are going to start putting some crazy fucking Poly Markets on, and it's going to lead to people doing really dumb shit. I still believe, I think Mamdani he's going to use the city money to bail out all the banks or bail out all the shitty real estate in New York. Because I already saw it. He already said he's stepping in on one of the bankruptcies. But think about it. These guys own the building for 20 years, fucking don't maintain it, create this horrible living situation, collect cash, all the rent, and then they're like, oh, I'm going bankrupt. And then the city's just going to come in, and they're going to do it. That's my prediction too, bro. Mm-hmm. So, yeah. I got a couple more for you, but we could save them here. Gift card. It was $8 for a fat chicken burrito. Yeah, if you do they have those? I think they came out with the protein burritos at Chipotle. As long as it's like, cheaper. It's like cheaper and you get it. I think that's a very solid move on their part. Because if not, bro, it's fucked up. It's not like, I'm telling you, I've paid $50 for 2 burritos once. It was an extreme situation. I needed it quick. We didn't have time. And, I didn't have the availability to cook it. No other food. I ordered. That's why it's cheaper if you're single, you guys. But, nah, it was ridiculous. But I saw those offerings of, like, the cheap ones where it's like, because, again, bro, you get fucking 40 grams of protein and, like, food-wise at a affordable price. I think that's where Chipotle went crazy. Even then, it was always above pricing, but you at least got shit for it. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah. We'll see. We'll see. U.S. pushes ahead to reopen Venezuela embassies. Yeah, it fits the trend and it's good quality. Like, if you're getting good food that at a good price, people are going to love it. But that's why the stock dropped. People are just getting sick of it. The overpriced, get nothing and all of that. It didn't serve them well. It served for a little bit. They cashed out on it while everybody was getting free money. But it just now with the economy, the pricing, if there's good opportunities if they're willing to go back to their roots. Because it was always a little bit more expensive, but it was good. Happy New Year, baby. Good to see you, man. I hope you guys are ready for this year, man. I missed you. I'm so excited to be back. It was a good day. And then I brought the news with me, dog. I can't believe it. You guys are going to think I'm going to be fucking, you like, who's he work for? Jesus, bro. I work for the light. That's it. But, man, it was nice today. I came with some gifts. I didn't think so. I thought we were going to just chill, talk. I didn't think there was going to be that many little plays and moves and headlines, even policy updates like that, because it's been dry. Woo! This is not a paid. That's what I'm saying, bro. Forgive me. It's not, but it was solid. I mean, I do own Chipotle now, so remember, I would talk about this though even before I bought the stock, but now we are shareholders, so I guess I have some bias. But then again, it did drop like 30% on my ass, but then it came back. So we here. What time is it? 4 minutes. BEA to release October. All right, that's the bad. Dude, they're just pumping that right there at the bell. Yeah, it's no good. No good, man. No good. So we'll see. Remember, every time the market gets that headline on the delayed economic data, it gets clapped. So that's happened even since last year. Yeah, bro. Bro, at one point, they were literally filming you. Like, really? You're not going to give me another scoop? It became a fucking meme. It was terrible what they were doing. That's how bad it got. That's what I'm saying. It's like, come on. How are you going to go out like that? You know what I'm saying? Like, how? But they good. They got with it. They understood. Yeah, bias, not buy this. For any crackhead out there. Not a recommendation. All right, man. I'm going to wrap it up. First day in the books. I'll see you guys tomorrow. If you were on Locked In, I'll see you tonight. And we'll have a good time. I need to get a good workout in, though. This is going to be my first workout in like a week and a half, probably. Because I was stopped working out a little bit. I was like, I'll let the shoulder heal. And then my schedule got fucked up. So then I hit the gym twice, and then this will be my third time in the last like 3 weeks, sadly. So I look forward. I need it though, bro. I'm so tight from just not working out. Did a lot of cardio though, walking. I played a couple games of ball. So we'll see, man. We'll see. I know I need it, man. I need it. I want to make it count, but I don't. My shoulder. I got to get back into it. But I am excited. God bless the schedule, bro.